So with that, let's dive into studying how the upper torso functions. And when I say upper torso, we've already kind of gone over that with the whole pec shoulder girdle thing. So this is going to be more of an ab focused lecture because there's no real. It's really hard to talk about like the upper section of the torso while talking about the bottom section because the abs actually go from the lower part of your rib cage down to the groin area, so it's kind of one unit. And I'm gonna show you that right now with the major muscles. All right, so as always, Mr. Satsu loves to talk about muscles. So what are the bones? There's only two big ones, right? It's your rib cage, and then there's your hip. Right? I'm gonna make that a little bit better looking. Aren't you erasing? Because you're not at 100% opacity, that's why. Okay, there's a hip here. I'm not going to give you an exact hip. Something like that, right? Okay, that's the bones. Congratulations. Everyone go home. Those are the bones that are involved in the torso. I guess there's a spine back here, but you don't see it. Okay. So, if you've been paying attention, you know that we have a pec up here, right? I don't want to get too specific about that. We've done a lot about pecs. You know, there's a shoulder up here. Great, cool. Collarbone, blah, blah, blah. So that's the upper section. We'll get into that a little bit later about the geometry, but first I'm going to go over the major muscles so that everything kind of makes sense. And that should be a little bit bigger. A little bit bigger. He's got little tiny upper body, right? Okay. So don't worry about this for now. That's just your proportion, right? And if you remember, we had these things called the serratus over here. These kind of come down and connect to the rib cage right there, right? And after that, that's pretty much everything we've covered prior lectures. So what you guys are going to learn about today is what is down here. What is all of this nonsense? Right? Let's make a new layer. Let's start drawing on top of our stuff. So, first one, most of you all are going to know about this, is the abs. And the abs are, of course, right here. Right? They run down like this. Right across the front. And that's the simple shape for them. As you know, there are things like six packs out there. What's that telling us? It tells us there's actually different sections to the abs, right? So instead of just a straight line, what you got is there's 1, 2, 3, and just kind of, it's more of like the human body actually is like an 8-pack. It's just we only refer to a 6-pack because of, I don't know, kind of arbitrary. Because right here is your belly button, right? So like there's your 6-pack. Boom, 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 right? And right here at the bottom is where the belly button is. That's a good landmark for you. So there's your abs, right? Of which there are kind of 8. But, you know, there's like a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And this one down here is kind of like a 7, 8. Usually it's not super visible because there's a very common fat collection area here on most people. Right? Almost everyone has like a little bit of fat down here. It's just that's your little emergency store for the end of winter, right? You know, you've stored all your nuts. It's March. You're out of nuts. You're eating your little fat pouch here. Okay, that's your we got to make it through March pouch. It's like a little fanny pack of food that you carry around when we were all hunter gatherers, right? So there is your abs. We don't need this anymore, right? I believe the proper name is the rectus abdominis, but nobody with a sane outlook on reality calls it that. We call it the abs. Okay, that's your first major muscle. And then your other big one is your obliques, right? And so these ones go down the side. There are, most people aren't very, you won't really see this. There's actually like, I think there's 5 sections to the obliques. They connect under the serratus here, and then they run down like that, right? So they come down here to the top of the pelvis. The iliac crest is your landmark. And you have, actually, right? They kind of do this. They have this sort of, right? That's your obliques. Now, I'm pretty sure there's, memory serves, there's 5 of them, but generally you only really see 2, and that's on very shredded individuals where you'll see a little bit of a delineation right here, right? So you might see something more like this on most people, right? There'd be like a 1 up here, and then this part down here, right? Because it kind of follows the rib cage. There's a little bit here, and then there's that. And these here, this is a landmark. This is not what it's called, right? That's where it ends. But this is actually your obliques. And they have a big, stupid, like, Latin... I think they're called the external obliques. That's the big, stupid Latin name, but we're going to call them just the obliques. And that's it. Congratulations. That is the muscles of the torso. That's it. See that? There's just a rib cage. There's a hip. There's abs. There's obliques. Done. Everyone go home. If only it were so simple, right? It's not. Because God's just kind of fun that way. So you remember your serratus comes in. These are your connectors, right? Right. Bam, bam. So let's give you some cues. Make a little more sense of this, because right here, these are our muscles. That's it. We've done the muscles. Okay. We got the bones. It's all there. Do a couple landmarks for you so you can kind of like put these together in the right spot. Let's get rid of this. We don't need this. Blah, 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 blah. Blah. So, landmark 1, your belly button. Boop. It's in the middle, give or take. Let's call it in between ribs. So that should be the bottom of the ribs. The bottom of the ribs. And the top of hips. Okay? I'll even label these for you. So your bottom of your ribs is like right here, right? That's A. And then we'll use purple. And then B here, right, is your iliac crest, right? So your belly button, you can see it. Boom, 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 boom. It's in between A and B, right? Your bottom of the rib cage, top of the hips. That's where she sits. And let's make that a little lighter. Let's use brown. Now we have another landmark here for you. See this rib cage line? It goes between the top 2 halves of the 6-pack and then 3, 4, 5, 6, right? So you have this rib cage line. We'll call it the rib cage. The ribs intersect the abs. Right? Does that make sense? Everyone's following along so far. We like all our little tips and tricks. They're like, oh, okay, that makes... Okay, I got it. We're getting some, like... Some light bulbs. I always want to hear about the light bulbs. Satsu loves light bulbs. Good. And then I would say you have 2 more tippy trickies, right? Right here is your... Right here is your... We're going to make it through March fat pouch, or the... I don't know. We're going to... let's call it the fatty fanny pack, right? Almost everyone's got these, except people who just have too much willpower or just, I don't know, so insecure they're scared of cake, right? But what's life without some cake sometimes? I'd rather just have the 4-pack and a little bit of, you know, my little fatty fanny pack there. Who cares? No one cares. Nobody actually cares. And then the last thing you want to keep in mind for your little sort of... Your pro tips, so to speak, is that when the body bends over, like if you're going to touch your toes or sit or something, you tend to bend here in between this area, right? This is your kind of out of space. This is kind of your like bend point, we're going to call it. You'll see in a sec what I mean. Right? So with all this in mind, these are kind of your muscles over here on this side, right? It's not kind of. These are your muscles, right? And over here is your sort of landmarks. So this is landmarks. Let's not do this in the same color. Right? So here's your landmarks, your tips, your tricks. Over here are your muscles. Now, with that in mind, let's look at some geometry for how you can put this thing together. So I'm going to just smush these. Leave that here. Boom, boom, boom. Put these over to the side. Get rid of all this stuff. We don't need this. I'm going to leave these here so you can see what happens next, because it's going to be so cool. You're going to be like, wow. Wow, I wish I knew that. And you'll be like, well, now I do know that. Okay. So actually, I'm going to take this. Make it big to show you your big hold on. I'm a big boy. I went to university. Your geometric locations. So when you're plotting this out, how you can think about it as big pieces, right? So I'm going to trace over top what we got here. As I mentioned, you have your top section, right? This is essentially your girdle. This is section A, right? That's with the pecs and the shoulders. Make sure A is nice and clear. Your next section, I would call section B, is the rib cage. Right? This section B. Call that the rib cage. Or just ribs. Right? This is your girdle. I call it the shoulder girdle. Or, you know, we can just call it your chest. That's cool too, right? Whichever one sounds cooler. Then we have this section here. And this one kind of does that, right? Remember I said it kind of breaks? This is sort of your, like, these different colors. Call this C. Call it the, like, I don't know, the upper belly. Let's do gold. This one kind of has that, remember that little poochie there? This is your lower belly. And then moving on with the rest of the body, we have, like, you know, legs and butt and stuff. Here, right? Any questions? These are all the big pieces. With this in mind, we can go and look at some actual drawings, and hopefully they'll start to kind of click into place as you see it. I'm going to use actually the same references from the shoulder lectures. You can see how the muscles kind of keep going down the body. Everyone following along? No one's confused yet? Awesome, 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 awesome. So, beautiful. Okay, cool. Cool. With that, well, let me do a little aside here. Something to think of when you're drawing your abs, just a little mental trick. So as far as your mental trick for your abs, you can think of it from the side like this, right? Like the from the side, right? It's I'll show you, this is what we're gonna get into next. Oops. Oh, I'm just gonna start to fart around here. Right? So this here is your belly button, right here. This is from the side. And there's kind of this sort of, this is the rib cage section up here. We'll use the same colors, like this is the rib cage, right? And then you have your upper belly area, right? This is your, like your C. Here's your B. Here's that little poochie pouch, right? And there's your D. This goes down to your groin, your area. Yeah, and like here's your iliac. Boom, boom, boom. This is the side view. Okay, cool. So let's move into what this looks like in the sketch of a human person, because you're not going to draw out a person covering letters A, B, C, D. No, that's not going to work. So let's sketch out an actual torso here. And then we'll go into the refs. Turn this off. Go to a new one. Made a little sketchy sketch here of Give me a sec, gotta sketch it out. Make sure everything's in a good spot. Right, remember when you're doing your sketches, keep it fast, keep it loose. Don't get precious. Okay, cool. That's plenty. Got the good landmarks. Okay, that'll work. Go a little higher. So this is gonna be a woman's torso. Sketch. Right. So what you just saw there is kind of like how you sort of, or at least how I sort of will sketch out bodies all fast and loose when I am actually like making poses, right? You keep it all very sort of, it's up in your head. I would actually, when you look at like, well, okay. There's two schools of thought here. There's those who like kind of fast and loose as they find the form, which is what I tend to do, right? You like your pen's just sort of moving around, and upstairs, like what I'm doing in my head is I'm sort of going through all the pieces. Okay, here's a deltoid, here's a pec, and I'm just kind of like piecing it all together. And what happens is there's sort of a very loose sketch stage, and then what you can do is you can go into kind of like a tighter sketch stage, and you pick the lines that you like from all your sketchy ones, right? That's kind of how that works. So like I might go, okay, I like this, right? Okay, that's kind of what I like, right? I like this, and so you just kind of, you can go through the stages and tighten it up. You can draw at any stage you want. But I want to give you the actual pieces you would draw for lines, because you're not going to draw all the different parts of the oblique. So let's just turn this down a bit. Look, it's like a loose sketch here. I'll first plot in the muscles so you can see it. Let's start with, what did I do? I did red for the girdle, right? So this is an arm up here, right? So here's the girdle. Remember that shoulder comes over, pecs come down, right? And then we won't get into the upper arm too much, right? So there's like the back of the deltoid, the teres, the lats, blah, blah, blah. Do these in black, right? These aren't important. Coracobrachialis, bicep, delt, first major, lat, blah, blah, blah. Your serratus muscles. Okay. Now our abs, right? So there's a rib cage here, remember? Section B, there's abs. Which actually, girls have this kind of, they come up more like this, the rib cage, whereas guys have kind of like, more like this. You'll see that when you do your reference studies, because I know you're going to do them. Right, so girl rib cage, hip landmark. I'm just going to plot this in real quick. We can see how we actually draw lines. If I'm going too fast, let me know. Right, here's our obliques. Right, you see that? There's like the side of the hips. Okay. So kind of making sense. I'm keeping it kind of fast and loose because I want to get to the part where you can see how to draw actual line art and not just muscles. Unfortunately, I kind of have to talk about all the boring stuff underneath. So you're like, why is that there? It's like, well, this is why it's there. So, right, you do more like, this is just the girl one, because girls are a little more complex than guys, sort of, when it comes to this. The big eraser, bud. Okay, so there's kind of a loose female figure, right? What are our handy dandy landmarks? So you got this one here. He's kind of, I'm going to exaggerate. It's got a slight curve, down, curve, curve, right? As far as the torso is concerned, we have a kind of curve here. Then it comes in like this to the belly button. And then it comes out like that, right? And then you have, sometimes on girls, sometimes we have this little section here, right? As the bottom of the rib cage. And then depending on how, or on the body fat composition of your drawing, whether it's male or female, on females, again, you might get that kind of pouch right here, or you might see it just kind of comes down right to the sides of the abs. Right? Those are our little cheat lines. Let's look at some refs, man. Here's the girl one. Let's probably do a guy one, eh? You can see the difference, because men and women are a little different. So if this was a dude, we don't want this, we don't want this. Bye, bye, bye. No boobies. Men don't have boobies. Sigh. All right, a little bigger downstairs. Men have a more prominent shoulder lat, and then their butt doesn't like do that big pop. It's just kind of a little more angular, right? Yeah, I know. I wish I had boobs. And like I mentioned on the girls, you might get that little. There are a lot of, most women will have this kind of little area here. The vast majority of your references will have a lot of, sorry ladies, but that's just, it's a hard area to get rid of. Guys will have, like I said, more of this kind of shape to their abs, or the rib cage, pardon. And then same thing where there's here, and it kind of comes down into the belly button, and then into the groin, right? Those are kind of your major areas to block out. With that, let's look at some references, right? This is all getting boring. It's not boring, it's all just, we're all learning a lot, right? We're all learning. I think that's it there. Okay. Let's go into the refs. Now we have these two. I'm going to build off the ones from last week, so I think you guys are going to like that. Okay. So, remember our super shredded fella here? I have the same labels from last week, or not? No, I think it was last week. Yeah, last week we did breasts. All right, so we don't need all these. We don't need this. Bye, 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 Miss American Pie. How's it connect, right? That's why we're here. We don't need this to have color, right? We can just turn this off. It's still colored. Oh, that's why. Turn that down. There we go. So we can see all the lumpy bits, but we don't need the color there. Okay, so look at our landmarks. We can see here he's got, right, this is our girdle. Right, you see that? It's all tucked up. Turn that down. Major areas. Hey. We got down here. Right, and when you do your ab studies, you'll start to notice people have like very, very different abs from person to person, right? Don't get too like, oh no, these abs aren't exactly as I practice. So you're going to get a lot of that. Okay, it's best to get used to it now, because all right, I did gold for the lower half, right? Okay, see how that sounds sitting on the body? Let's look at the actual muscles now. Okay. Colors. I should use the same colors, right? You guys want the same colors? Of course you do. Let's go look at some colors. So we'll make this a little smaller. Tuck it up here. And where did I put them? Sketchy sketches. Let's grab them sketchy sketches for you. There we go. There it is. What we want. Okay. Do you want the geometric map too while I put these together? Anybody? Or is this pretty clear so far? Okay, good. I like that. I like you guys find me thorough, because if there's no questions, it means I'm doing my job. Okay, so I did a blue and I did a pink. Find his abs. Come on, guys. Dora the Explorer here. Donde es el abs? I say his. This is, you know what? We're not here to learn Spanish. We're here to learn about the human body. I'm going to just stop myself before I get distracted. Okay, here's his abs. Block them out. There's 2, 3. Right, here's his belly button. Means we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, right? And abs don't do, not like this. They kind of face downward like that, right? You kind of have a chevron to them, like an upward facing chevron, right? And the outsides have this kind of little bulge to them, and you can see there's that kind of 7. And this guy is very diligent. He does not have a, we're going to make it through March pouch. He's going to make us all feel bad about ourselves because I had ice cream the other day. And I'm not going to apologize for it, but I don't have this. It's okay. And this guy is so shredded, you can see those. Remember I mentioned this kind of like different sections of the obliques? You can see there's sections here, right? On really shredded guys, you'll see this. Right? There's usually 5 of them. The insertions can change person to person, but generally there's kind of 1 right here, and 1 here, 3, 4, yeah, there he is. Right, this is your obliques. These here are your serratus muscles, right? See that? There's the lat back there, the teres. We did all that, right? You guys remember that. So that's what this man has put together, right? There's his obliques. And there's his abs. Yeah, it's not so crazy. Oh, you guys like it colored, right? Here. Right. Forgot about that. You like the color. That's good. You know, color's good. Jeez. That's to keep the colors. What are you doing? There. Yeah, that's it. I'll do it over this side too. I think it definitely helps to see. Okay, right. People are generally very visual learners, myself included. Who doesn't like visuals? Okay. All right, let's jump into another one. Any questions? I assume there's none, but it's always good to check before I dive into elaborating on a female reference. Oh, and before I go to the next one, while you guys are thinking up your super smart, really intelligent, top shelf questions, looking at the landmarks here, or not the landmarks, but like the general lines, you can see he's got that shoulder line, that lat line, right? That big lat line, then it kind of comes down. These guys are they're very square, and then there's a little boop for his obliques, right? A boop for his obliques, and it goes to his zone. That's from these ones up here we're talking about. Right, same thing. You can't really see it because it's from the front, right? We're going to do sort of elaborate from the side a little bit, even though he's not. And that's your, whoops, that's this that I've just sort of mapped out on there ever so gently. I see no questions. That means you guys all understand it perfectly, which is the bee's knees. Let's jump into another one. Remember her? Of course you do. She was a great reference for shoulders, just up in the air. Beautiful. Thank you, miss. You are appreciated. You are loved. I hope you are having a great life somewhere. Get rid of these distracting labels. Boom. Okay. So let's find our... So let's start with the landmarks. That's always a good place, right? So, where is your rib cage? I don't know. Yes, I do. It's right here. Remember, and the girls have that kind of... They kind of have more like this for their rib cage. There's a... See a lot of references. There's, instead of this sort of thing, remember, they have a kind of... Sort of comes in like that. Just how they're put together. Right. There's our hips. That means right under here, this section right here, just at the top, we have our first set of abs. Zoom in so we can see. Oh, neighbor sounds. Guys, I'm trying to teach art. Here's your itty bitty belly button. You see it peeking over her shorts. Label these bad boys. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Right? Easy. Now you notice on her, she's not riddled with, I don't know, probably steroids or I don't know, but she's a little less shredded than our male model. You don't see all those big oblique heads, so this section's really just kind of like that. Just color it in. Right. There it is. Color it in, color it in. This is all answering your guys' questions about how it all connects. Hopefully this is what you guys had in mind. Or some of you are wondering what happens when it bends over. Right? Is that just kind of lurking in your head like, wait, what about that? Yeah, can someone post me an image of Kronk going, yeah, it's all coming together, right? We guys know that reference? That's not just me being a Disney fan. Someone post Kronk there. Give me a Kronk. Kronk me. Thank you. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. It's all coming together. Thank you. That's some fantastic teacher's assistant work there. If I had brownie points, I'd give you some. Just give me your address. I'll send you a gold star by mail. All right, we got 2 of them. Excellent, excellent. Okay, and let me give you the geometric areas, right? Up here is your girdle. Your A. Then your B. B. We had this little section, right? This is belly button. And you see how it's kind of important here? It's just like a little kind of squishies right there. There's a little squishy. That's why you want. I think it's a good idea to. I got 3 cronks. You guys are great. Oh no, that's a despicable. A light bulb. Thank you. Right. There's D. C. Color these bad boys in. Oh. Actually not quite right. I should have done that better. This should be more like... I panicked. Should be more like that, because you're not going to see all that. These colors, they're so far away. Color, color, color. Okay. There you go. Okay. As always, any questions? I assume no, but next I'm going to show you the bent over model of human beings. You can kind of see how this is, why it's important to have a CD section of, pardon me, a CD section of the abs. While you guys think about that, I'm going to just go over here. Make sure we plot this in. Right, this should be plotted in more. Right, that should be like that. You got... There. Cool. No questions? Cool. On to the next section. If you have a question, now is the time, or forever, hold your peace. So, what I have here is someone who is just looking fantastic today. My goodness. Wow. What a specimen. So, when someone has a very low body fat and they bend their spine, you know, they bend over, you're going to see, honestly, much less bending than most folks will actually draw generally. Conversely, I tried to find one here from the side, which kind of shows it. It was a little difficult to find someone with a higher body fat percentage in these positions. I don't know why. Just I actually had a little bit trouble finding like some people who were like you might like the body compositions of those who are like maybe more classical artists would focus on. I don't know why it was so hard to find a good one that really kind of showed it. So I'll try and show you as I do these reps here, and we'll see if we can figure it out together. So let's plot these in. And that would probably conclude the lecture, because it's not that complicated, right? It's less complicated than you thought, right? Grab black. Here we go. That's good. Okay. So, here's our belly button. Good old landmark. You can see how the abs, as you're starting to see now as we go over different people, our abs are like a little different on every person. That's just, you know, how I keep going about like the insertions and the muscle shapes are just different person to person to person to person. So there's a really strong, consistent, this is how the body's put together element to every single person, right? Every single human being has a set of abs, but everybody's abs is a little different, right? Some people even have like little spaces in between their abs like this where they'll kind of like go around. Just that's just how they're put together, right? So there's a sort of there's a fun room for inconsistency, I guess, when you do your own art, where like maybe your abs aren't quote unquote perfect, but as long as you have 6 of them in the right general landmarks, most people will see and go like, okay, yeah, that's a set of abs. Cool, right? So there's a little bit of room to just like for imperfection, where just everybody's different anatomies allows for that imperfection to just be communicated. So just learn the general areas, the general muscles, and then don't take yourself too seriously after that point, because there's no real need, right? Let's look at his abs, right? Okay. If you look closely, you'll notice, and this is going to blow your mind. It's going to just blow it out the back of your head. He has a 6-pack, right? 1, 2. I have to draw so small for this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and there's the 7. Right, there's 7. And this is where the C and D separation comes in handy, right? This is why this is important. Let's go over to this one so I can show you. Right here, right? Bending in here. That's why it's important to break up the... Oh! Discord just went... Ugh! Do you guys all still hear me? You see my screen? Yes. I just got the big spinny controller. Okay, moving on. Anyways, so what I'm talking about here, well, this is why it's important to break up your midriff into 2 sections, because like when the person bends, you don't really get like a really it's not like there's like these sections curving around like this. You really just have this. This is from the side, right? And then there's your 1, 2, 3, or your upper 3 sections of the abs, and then your lower section. This is the belly button. This is really how bending works over, right? It's not that complicated. Not as complicated as I see some folks try to make it. It's really not. We'll just plot on the geometric areas, right? Right, remember that the rib cage is under the top 2 abs, right? And what I want to mention here is you can think of this almost like these top 2 ones are quite rigid. And some people like to think of the midriff as kind of like this squishy, like almost, I don't know, gel-like section of the body, where like you have your hips here, right? And it all just kind of sits in it. So like your hips are rigid, right? Trying to make this look rigid with edges, right? And then what's happening is your little jello belly's like sitting in it, like, you know, there's a shine to it. And it bulges in between these sections as you move around. So like you might have, you know, a rib cage, and it comes down, right? Make that turn. Let's say your hips are like doing this. You might imagine that it kind of bulges, right? See what I'm talking about? Where like it bulges, it squishes in. Some folks like to think of it that way. I never really felt the need to, but I thought I would mention that because some people really find that helpful. When it's doing this bulgy thing, right? You have your top abs, and these ones scrunch in, boop, boop, and then you have your 7 here booping out, right? It's kind of doing that. Is that helpful to anybody? Does anybody like that one? To have that sort of squishy little center of the human body. Does anybody like the squishies? It's a helpful concept. Okay, yeah. Well, then let's visit that for a second more. So, like, if a body turns, right? Like, you know, this is your rib cage. Let's say it's looking up, and your hips are kind of doing this. You have a line like this, right? You think of your squishies, they're in here, right? Just squishing away. Maybe that'll help some folks. Just put your two squishy sections in between, right? There's your B. We didn't give the hips a letter, but we're going to call that, I don't know, H for hips. There's that C section, and there's that D section. That'll help you guys make sense of things. All right, remember 1 and 2 of the abs is up here, and 3, 4, bum, right? So much going on, huh? Hopefully I'm not getting too convoluted here. Let me color. Wait, you guys like color? Let me color these in for you, because I saw somebody like this. Somebody likes the likes it. So here, right? Remember, pink is our obliques. Remember, blue, our abs. Right? Do we like that? Do you like the sort of combo thing I just figured out here for you? Like, ooh, okay. Someone getting a ooh. We getting some ooh. Who doesn't like ooh? Ooh, excellent. Okay, so turns out some folks like the squishy stuff. Let's go over here and just plot on his muscles. All right, 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Boom, 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 boom. And he's quite lean, so you can see the oblique heads. They squishy here. They squishy on the side. And squishy. The little hip box. Right. We'll do this one opposite so you can see how they work together. I think it's a sunburn when I do that. Okay, you seeing that? Mystifying. I think I like this one where you kind of combo them, right? So like here's your obliques. You see it all mixing together. I like that. Do we need another one? Are we getting it? How are we feeling about it? We feel confident now? Or do you want one more? One more? Someone write down encore for me. Give me the encore, you know? Encore. And I go, okay, I didn't plan this. I did plan it. Okay. What we got here? Let's see. I like this one. We all know the encore is always planned. Here's one from the side. Show you guys. Ow. Free bird! Yeah, thank you. need to be traveling on now. There's too many places I've got to see. I'm as free as a bird now. Let's see, that's, there's her belly button there. Make sure I plot this out for you guys right. Yeah, that's probably about right. Okay, so there's her rib cage. Something like that looks like. Okay. This is not quite right for the hips, but we'll just leave it as is, because it's supposed to be like a bone here, blah, 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 but don't worry about that too much. Okay. Okay. So you all like the squishy bits? You can see here what I'm talking about, right? Here's your sort of top squish. Squish, right? And then squish. See that? Isn't that beautiful? I'm going to use pink for the obliques here because you're going to see them, right? See those obliques bunching up on the side here? Right? Sorry for all the zooming around. Should have actually done these in colors of the sections. So like here's our ribs. Right? But then come in with the smaller ones. So here's the abs. Right? Here's the obliques. This isn't actually totally true because there's the lat back here, but and the obliques don't reach around like that. But we're not going to get into the back just yet because that's another world, a world that none of us ever actually see because you can't see behind yourself, can ya? No, not yet at least. One day I'll see my back. And there's these serratus here. Right? Isn't that a fun little diagram? Okay. Was that a good one? You want some more about it? I'm gonna like keep doodling here. I think you get like at this point, it feels like I'm kind of getting a little redundant. It feels like you're probably gonna see it. Right? Here, I know what I'll do. I'll do this. Talk about. Remember that I mentioned that like the abs have this, right? Where you have those boop, boop, boop sections. Right? There's two of them in here. That's really the that's the torso. I don't really know what else I can cover there, honestly. We feeling good about it? We feel like we learned something? Should I color things in more? More color? Less color? Feeling good about it? Okay. So, with that, that concludes the lecture on the front of the torso and how all of your abs and your obliques and your tummy works when you're drawing it. Go do your references, do your studies, then you'll know where to put your lines when you do your line art, because you're not going to do all of these specific muscles when you actually draw somebody. With that, that's the end of the lecture. I'll see you in the next one.